What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today? I know it's late, but this is your girl Knowledge by Nikki with 1K. So we're Knowledge by Nikki at 9. We just on the other side this day. We usually are in the morning, but today we're going to be in the evening. I put a post up. I want to say it was this morning or yesterday. I don't remember. And I put a post up talking about asking the question, what is a suicide season? And I was hoping that some of you all would have guessed what it was because I was prepared to give something away. Maybe I should have told you that. Maybe I should have said, I'm going to give some away for whoever can guess what this is, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about what a suicide season is. I'm just tagging a couple people here just to make sure some of my friends, we can share this with people on their page. And I'm going to get it cracking, y'all. And I'm going to tell you all what a suicide season is. For those of you all that may not know me or may not know what I do, my name is Nikki Smith with 1K, and I am your business restructuring strategist. That is what I do. I take businesses that are failing and I basically try to help them scale, try to help them get fixed, try to help do whatever it is they try to get them to do. So in that, I am a big advocate. I'm trying to get this out of my screen here, guys. It's wanting to act a little crazy, but I'm going to get it out. All right. In that, I'm often talking about people's inability to delegate. Believe it or not, guys, for those of you all that are owners, delegating is probably one of the hardest things to do for creative people. Creative people are typically used to doing things with their hands, creating it themselves, and they rarely understand the power in delegation. So relinquishing that control is a really difficult thing for people that are used to doing things themselves. And I'm a big advocate for delegating. I don't believe you should try to do everything yourself. I don't believe you can be the jack of all trades. I don't believe you need to be a one-man band. But there is a period in everybody's business and personal life, more so business, that's what we're talking about today, where you will need to do something called have a suicide season. Now, let me explain to you what a suicide season is. And I'm talking about it in business, not in life where, they have statistical data to support when people are more likely to commit suicide. They have certain months, certain times of the year. This isn't that, okay? But it is synonymous with killing yourself, so to speak, more figuratively. Write this down for those of y'all that are paying attention. A suicide season should never exceed a year. It should never exceed 1 year. What a suicide season is, it's very simple. It is a focused time period that you are trying to have a particular goal completed within that time frame. Now, typically when people do a suicide season, it'll go from 6 to 12 months. That means this is only this period that you're doing this. You're not doing it any other period. I don't believe you should work this way continuously, which some of you all are doing. So from 6 to 12 months, we're going to come up and decide that we want to accomplish something. I don't mean have it in motion. I mean have it done. Let me give you some ideas about what people do suicide seasons for, and then I'm going to give you some ideas about what changes in that season. When people want to buy a house, perfect goal. They know they have to come up with a certain amount down, and if it's two, if it's one, however many people are actually going into this investment, they make the decision, we need to save X amount of dollars. We'll say $50,000 in order to be able to purchase this house, close on this house, and we got this window to do it. So what happens is 2 or 1 or however many people are contributing to this, they make a decision on how they're going to do this, okay? And I'm going to get into it in a minute on how we're going to do it. Another reason, opening your own business. When you want to open your own business, now I'm a big advocate for this. I've talked about this to many people. I just actually had 2 conversations yesterday while I was coaching with 2 people that want to open a business. I am not for you taking out loans to open your first business. I think that is the biggest mistake anybody could make when you have not gotten accustomed to working and managing a business. You don't want to have to pay people back because the bank could care less. The bank like, I don't care if you ain't made $1. We want our money back, or whoever you borrow it from. So a suicide season to open a business would be you establish a set time. I want to open in January of whatever year. You look at how many months or even a year. Suicide season should never be more than a year. Never. It's from 6 months to a year. You decide how many months you got to work with, and then I'm going to tell you about, again, the changes that you're going to do. I just want to give you some of the examples first. Pay off debt. I actually work with my coachees, and I ask all of them, how much debt do you want to have paid off by a certain period? They'll tell me, and I help them establish a suicide season. That means it stops. You don't keep going. A suicide season on how to get this debt gone, erased, okay? This is the way it works. There are 3 things that are going to be necessary to complete a suicide. 4, actually. It's always about money. You're going to establish how much money you need to do whatever that thing is. Buy a house, open a business, get rid of debt, things of that nature. Once you come up with that amount, you're going to divide it evenly between the amount of months or up to a year, which is 12 months, that you actually believe that it's going to take for you to do this. Make sure you develop your suicide season strategy realistically. So in other words, if you in your best day, best month, didn't ever do more than $10,000 a month, don't all of a sudden start setting your suicide season up like you're going to do 20 every month. It's not going to happen. But what I do want you to do, if you're going to be doing a lot of the same stuff to get this, you're going to be killing yourself, but it's for a season. I want you to go back and look at your highest grossing month in your career. Highest possible grossing month, whatever that is. And I want you to base this suicide season off of 10% more than your highest grossing month, because I want you to stretch a little bit. Okay, so real example, you're going to change, it's going to be about money. So the goal first, how much money do we need to do this? Buy a house, open a business, get out of debt, things of that nature. Once you do that, you're going to look at the hours that you already work. If you already work 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, you're going to do about 10% or 20% sometimes more in hours. So if you work 40 hours a week, guess what? You're going to do an additional 8 hours. If you actually are doing, that's actually 20% more. It will be additional 8 hours. So you're going to set your schedule to where it makes you do 48 hours as opposed to 40. If you do 60 hours and you're going to set a suicide season up, 20% more than 60 is 12 more hours. You're going to give yourself 72 hours to actually make up this whatever amount of money you need, okay? You may have to double, you may have to expand your days. Let's say you only work, average salon owner / stylist works Wednesday through Saturday, maybe some Tuesdays. This would be one of those where you're going to add minimally 1 extra day. If you could swing it, add 2. But you're going to add 1 extra day, which is really like a 12, 8, 10-hour shift. You're going to add an extra day to your existing load to accomplish what it is that this suicide season is going to need to get you where you're trying to go. You're also going to consider hiring more staff. Now, we know we got to pay this staff. So you got to really strategically figure out, if I have more staff, how much is it going to cost me to have them? And how much is that going to take away from the amount of money that I need in this suicide season? You got to do the math. You got to make sure your output is at least 50% less, and those people can generate more coming in than they actually take going out in salaries or commissions or however you're going to pay them. You have to measure this progress. This ain't no winging it thing. I'll give you an example. When I opened my very first salon, my ex-husband and I knew that we needed about $85K to do this salon. We knew that. So we sat down, we did a 12-month plan. 12 months, $80K, You divide that up. That's what, somewhere around $7,000 a month. Now, this is additional because we still got to live. We still got to eat. That's actually 84,000 if you do 7,000 a month. We still got to live. We still got to eat. We still have to do these things. So what was necessary is for us to divide that up into the months, because this is how it becomes very tangible. If I have to do 70, what's that? 84,000, $7,000 more a month. I divide that 7,000 by 4 weeks or 5 weeks, right? That's going to give me what I actually need to do. But I've learned to do things in the year because it's easier, because they have some months with 4 weeks, some months with 5 weeks. So this is what we do. We say, okay, we need 85,000. I got my other phone. I'm going to do some math here for you. I need to get $85,000 additional, and that's really 84, but in the next 12 months. Simple. I go in my phone. I think we weren't using phones then, but I put 84,000 and I divide that by 52, which is 52 weeks, right? That means out of 52 weeks, hold on, that's not accurate. 85,000. And let's do 84,000. That's 7,000. So 84,000. I'm going to divide that. 84,000. And actually, I'm going to do it by months first. Divided by 12 months equals $7,000. And I'll do it actually by 4 months and 5 months. If I divide that by 4 months, that gives me $1,750, or 4 weeks, I'm sorry. That gives me $1,750 per week. Now, remember what I said. This is a suicide season. This is when you're going to almost turn nothing down but your collar. But you're doing it for a reason. It's to get to a goal and then it stops. So $1,750. If you work 6 days a week, divide that by, I'll divide it by 5. I'll be generous. By 5 days a week, all that means is I got to do an extra $350. For, I don't know about y'all, but when I used to do weave, that was a cheap weave. That's a color service for me. All I got to do is 1 or 2 more color services, and I got $350 extra a day. That's $350 extra a day that I have to do the 5 days that I work. That's it. 5 days that I work, not even 6. So think about it. If you doubled your day, doubled your week, or doubled your days, I'm sorry, instead of 5 and did 6. Let's look at what that looks like. That was $1,750 divided by 6 weeks or 6 days, $291. That's all you got to do extra. That's not really even working that hard. That's all you got to do extra. Let's do the same math. Let's do that 7,000 and let's divide it by a 5-week month. You got 4 months, I think, out of the year that have 5 weeks. So if we divide that through a 5-week month, that's $1,400 extra. You got to do per week, right? So let's divide that now by the days you work. If we divide that by just 5 days you work, that's $280. $280 extra dollars you got to do a day to meet a $84,000 goal. That's it. Let me do it by 6 days. If you work 6 days, what I say, 7,000 divided by 5 weeks gives me $1,400 a week. I need to produce that extra on top of what I already do, and I'm going to divide that now by 6 days. That means $233. How many of y'all don't believe you can do $233 extra dollars a day? Trust me, if you focus, you can get it done. This is a suicide, and it's synonymous with, okay, I'm killing myself, but I'm doing it for a goal. I want to open my business. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a second business. I want to get out of debt. I don't care what it is that you want to do. The consciousness I need you to keep, though, with a suicide season it is just that, a season. Some of you all working like this all the time, and because you don't have any real focus, you're not producing anything. You don't even know where the money went. Now, once you do this, you're going to measure. You have to measure it. If it doesn't measure, it doesn't matter. That means you have to look at it every 30 days. Every 30 days, you have to analyze, are you meeting this quota? Are you exceeding this quota? Whichever one. If you're not meeting it, you got to restructure the math so the next month you get to where you're trying to go. If you are exceeding it, cool. Then two things could happen. You can the next month slow it up a little bit, or you can keep doing exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask or think, like God says. But you could actually exceed that, and then maybe your 12 months will only be 11 months. The goal is to get to that number and to stop. So make sure if you're going to do this in clients, taking on additional clients, a lot of you all have waiting lists. That's fine. Clients, if you're going to do this in sales, retail sales, beautiful. If you're going to do this with trainings, maybe you train people, whatever it is that you do. If you're going to do this, I need you to sit down and not just structure the dollar amount, but actually figure out what you're going to sell. For instance, if you do hair, I know the average ticket of mine is about $150. So I know what, if I look at my price list and I need to make, say, an extra $280 a week, I would literally look at what things. Okay, if I do a double processed color, that's about $200 right there. Or if I do I'm trying to think, one keratin for me is $450. So I can do one extra keratin in the whole, in the day, and actually be able to do what I would have done in 2 days. I need you to assign particular things that you're going to do to get to this number. This is a controlled season. You say, look, I need to do 5 more haircuts, 10 relaxers, and whatever else that you do, and that will give me the money that I need. That means that you will start suggesting more services. You will do better with adding on services. You will consciously control your finances and your day. If you selling stuff, I need you to go back, look at your retail bar and say, okay, I need to sell 5 bottles of shampoo, 2 bottles of conditioner, whatever. I don't even know what you sell. A lot of you all sell wigs, you sell hair, I don't care what it is. Come up with how many of the thing that you're going to use to get you to this number in this suicide season that you need to sell. If you're getting out of debt, you sit down, you look at all the debts, write them down. You're either going to do the snowball effect, the avalanche effect, or the envelope effect. Look them up. That's a whole nother training for me to do that. But you look at them in a sense where how much are you going to relinquish from this debt pool per month? You might say, I just need the 2 bigger credit cards. Then you might say, I need the student loan. I don't really care what it is. But you have to do this intentionally. This ain't no just, let me just take some extra clients and see what happened. No. A suicide season is a controlled period that you are consciously, what we call kill yourself, by working harder, selling more, doing whatever it is that you could do so that you can make this number. You let everybody know, I'm only working this extra day for a year. I'm only working these extra hours for 6 months, because the thing is, once the season is over, you stop and you go back to normal. Don't kill yourself repeatedly. Okay, I am a big advocate for working smarter and not harder. I don't believe in killing yourself if you don't have to. But there are periods that we have to do what we got to do to get more money in the kitty. I'd rather you do a suicide season than constantly go get loans, stuff you got to pay back, interest, more debt, the whole nine. So for those of you all that did not know what a suicide season in business is, that is what it is. So analyze yourself, analyze your business right now. We know the pandemic has unfortunately cost a lot of people their business, and even the ones that are still standing are barely holding on. So it might be time for the restaurants. I'm really rooting for you all to be able to hold on as long as you can. But the minute they release the occupancy amount and allow you to have a full flourishing business and seat every chair that you got if you can, I'm really praying that you all also understand what a suicide season is. It might have to be a season where you all say, you know what, we ain't never catered, but we're going to do catering for like 12 months. Since everybody used to stuff being delivered to them anyway, we're going to start offering that more, or offering it, and we never have offered it. A lot of times, a suicide season may even require you to do something you're not doing. I'm just giving you examples about using what you have, leveraging what you already have. That's the easy part. But sometimes a suicide season may call for you to do something that you may have the skill set to do. You may have the research and everything that comes with it to do, but you just never did it. So you can also include this. If it's multiple things, you can add more clients, sell more stuff, and cater, or whatever it is that you do. But it's a control period that has specifics to how we're going to get to that goal. Okay? I have done a suicide season many times in my life, and trust me, when it's over, it's over. It's like, I'm not doing that no more, or I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to stay in that season, just like the seasons change. Summer, winter, spring, fall, they change, and they're substantial in their changes. So don't let yourself get stuck there. But I want to give you all the okay, because I do a lot of talking and really preaching about people not killing themselves while they're working, because there is a better way to do it. Very true. I still feel that way. But there are seasons in our life where we need to get some things done, and we need to get them done quickly. And you cannot move without money. Everything we pretty much need to do, I don't care what vein it's in, requires money. So I want you to I'm giving you my stamp of approval. If you need to do a suicide season for 6 months, 12 months, that's it. Do what you do. If that means you got to come in on Mondays, you don't work on Monday, okay. Only for a season, though. And make sure that the people you are doing whatever you're doing with or on know that this ain't forever. Because, people get amnesia and they forget that you really don't work on Monday. Okay? But this is something that is necessary at different stages in your career for you to have a suicide season. Just do not ever go over 1 year. All right? That's what a suicide season is, guys. Some of you all will hit me up like, I don't know what that is. Well, now you do. All right? This is your girl, Knowledge by Nikki, at 9 o'clock. And I'm just happy to help you all. Hopefully, this gives you some incentive to maybe have one if you've been in a rut. Now that we're back running, some of us, unfortunately, again, some of us shut down. But if you're in a rut and you're trying to figure out, like, I need to have a suicide season, but I don't even know what to do, then hit me up. Hit me up on my website. It's knowledgebynikki.com. Put it in the email. I have knowledgebynikki.com in the heading. So in the email, it's on the first page when you open up the website or when it uploads. Send me an email and just say, Nikki girl, I'm with you. But I don't even have a clue what to do in my suicide season. For a small fee, I actually give you an hour and a half call and we'll get it together for you. I'll help you kind of map out that strategy based off of what you tell me you're willing to do, because you have to be willing to do it. And you got to follow through, guys. Whatever you're going to start with, you got to follow it through. So look at it realistically. Know what you realistically will and won't and can do, and set your suicide season up accordingly. All right? So peace out. I'll see you all. Have a wonderful night.